What y'all saw up there was passion, and when people say stuff about things like this about me, they end up missing. That is what Dawn is alleging.
The pattern of threats and intimidation continued through the testimony of Carrie Morgan, a close friend of Cassie's. In 2018, during an argument sparked by Combs' suspicions that Cassie was cheating, Morgan became a target. She told jurors that Combs nearly with a coat hanger, then till she vomited. The attack left her with a concussion.
And how would you describe her scream?
Like guttural, like terrifying. I saw him push her to the ground and she hit her head on the brick.
How did you see Ms. Ventura react after she hit her head on the brick?
She didn't move. I thought she was knocked out.
How long did she not move for?
I would say like 20, 30 seconds. Sean and I were yelling at each other, and while we were arguing, she got up and ran into like a wooded area.
What followed wasn't a police report, but an NDA. A month later, Cassie personally asked her to sign a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for $30,000. Morgan accepted the deal. What prosecutors were beginning to outline was a system of violence paired with hush payments, physical abuse followed by cover-up. Even luxury hotels, far from private mansions or studios, were part of the picture. Frederick Zamar, a manager at high-end Beverly Hills property, was asked about Diddy's guest history. He didn't hold back. He described the reoccurring damage left behind in rooms Diddy occupied. Candle wax melted onto furniture, baby oil soaked into curtains and rugs. He recalled billing Bad Boy Entertainment for deep cleaning fees, $500 for oil, $300 for drapes. One entry on the guest profile read simply, "Always spills candle wax on everything and uses excessive amounts of oil." Listen to the dramatized version of his testimony.
Took the stand.
Why are you here?
I receive a subpoena.
Are you familiar with the hotel's reservation system?
We have a system called Opera. We enter in personal preferences.
How long do you keep them?
They stay forever.
How reserved this room for Sean Combs?
Ryan Lopez. Also other names were used.
When was this profiled first created?
2006, it said Sean Combs and Bad Boy Records. Then they changed it to Jackie Starr.
Let's look at 2011 to 2012. This reservation, what's the bill?
Over $2,000. It says only charge if Christina Coram approves.
What were the instructions?
Put room out of service for cleaning. Like the room hot, set it for 75 degrees.
What are these complaints?
Candle wax on carpet. Security called. Charge $500.
No further questions.
It may have seemed like strange celebrity behavior, but in the context of what the court was hearing, story of so-called freak-offs and violent sex parties, it began to take on a darker significance. With each new witness, the image prosecutors were presenting grew clearer. Not just isolated incidents, not just bad nights, but a repeatable process. Abuse, payment, cleanup. And yet, as damaging as week 3 was, what came next went further because the threats weren't just physical. Some, according to testimony, were potentially fatal. Capricorn Clark was once one of Combs' most trusted brand executives, but when she walked into the courtroom in late May 2025, she wasn't there to talk marketing. She was there to talk about fear.
Capricorn Clark is expected to take the stand. She will become the third former assistant to testify as a government witness against him.
Clark told the jury that in 2004, during a late-night drive in Manhattan, Combs held her. He had found out about her previous work with rival producer Suge Knight. According to Clark, Combs drove her to Central Park, pulled out a pistol, and told her bluntly, "You know I can make you disappear, right?" That wasn't the only story she shared. Clark testified that Combs once told her flatly and without hesitation, "We're going to kill Cudi." She explained that this wasn't a metaphor. In her words, Combs was enraged over Cassie's brief relationship with Kid Cudi and wanted him gone. She said she drove with Combs and a bodyguard as they tried to locate Cudi's home. Her testimony directly supported Kid Cudi's earlier account of the break-in, the threats, the dog locked in a closet, and his car firebombed days later. Cudi had stopped short of blaming Combs outright, but Clark's version filled in the blanks. Next came Deontay Nash, a former stylist who worked with both Combs and Cassie. He offered more detail on the psychological control Cassie lived under.
Where were you right before the violence started?
Outside smoking a cigarette.
Was anyone with you?
No.
What were you standing by?
A car?
Was it parked?
Yes.
What happened as you were outside smoking a cigarette by a car?
Puff came around and threw me on the car and started choking me out.
What did Mr. Combs say as he choked you on the car?
I thought I told y'all about going out, y'all wildin'.
Who did you understand Mr. Combs was referring to when he said y'all?
Cassie and I.
And at that point, what had Mr. Combs said to you in the past about whether you and Cassie could go out without his permission?
After the Rita thing, that's basically, he said that we couldn't.
That you couldn't what?
That we couldn't go out because every time I wanted to go out, she wanted to go out.
Now, Mr. Nash, stepping back, did you report any of the violence you've described today to the police? Did you file a report?
No.
To the police?
No.
Why not?
Out of fear.
What were you afraid of?
Retaliation from Puff.
What conversations, if any, do you remember having with Mr. Combs ahead of Cassie's 29th birthday?
Should he surprise her for her birthday?
Is that what he asked you?
Yes.
How did you respond?
I told him if you want to.
Now, why did you tell Mr. Combs to come if he wanted to, if you'd seen him do all of this violence to Cassie?
Girl, I was not about to tell him. He couldn't come give that girl a party.
What do you remember happening at the birthday party there?
As they were leaving, Puff was telling Cassie, you, I do all this. I'll do everything for you and you just can't do this one thing for me.
Did you end up speaking with Cassie at the Cavatina about Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Were you two alone?
It was a couple people around.
What do you remember Cassie saying to you at the Cavatina?
I asked her about Puff. I was like, girl, what is he over there doing? What is he talking about? And Cassie said, girl, he's just mad because I don't want to go to the hotel and freak off with him.
According to Nash, Combs dictated everything about Cassie's appearance, her outfits, her shoes, even her hair. If she didn't comply, the insults came fast. Nash also testified that Combs once had set up a date between Cassie and actor Michael B. Jordan just to test her reaction.